The Onsra Black Carve is one of the few electric skateboards today that use direct drive motors with wheels mounted on the motors. This design has major benefits over the more common direct drive hub motors. I'll talk more about this in just a moment. The Black Carve that I have here is a near final prototype of the second version of this board, which is actually already finished and shipping to some markets. Let's take a look at shred lights. Look at how easy it is to move the lights from one board to another. So if you have multiple boards like myself, you only need to invest in one set of lights. The motors on the Onsra Black Carve are different from the direct drive motors that many electric skateboards use. While both types are technically direct drive motors, the e-skate community refers to the type with a tire wrapped around the motor as hub motors, and the type with wheels mounted to the side as direct drive. Direct drive motors have two major benefits over hub motors. First, because they use actual wheels, boards that use direct drive tend to be a lot more comfortable than boards that use hub motors, which often have only a thin layer of polyurethane wrapped around the motors. Second, direct drive motors allow you to use a wide variety of wheels. Different wheels can immensely alter the performance and ride characteristics of a board. So if you want to customize your ride for different situations, direct drive would be a better option than hub motors. Direct drive motors also have the same benefits of hub motors over belt drive. They are relatively maintenance-free compared to belt drive, and they are much quieter. In fact, they're even quieter than many hub motors, since hub motors with thin tires create the most road noise. The direct drive motors on the current generation Black Carve are the second generation motors developed by this manufacturer. According to them, compared to the first generation, these new motors have more torque, less noise, and stronger axles than before. A disadvantage of direct drive is that the motors are very close to the ground and more likely to hit rocks, dog poo, and other stuff. I don't really have any idea how big of an issue this is since direct drive boards aren't very common. I suppose time will tell. If the motors get significantly scratched up or dented over time, the outer shield is replaceable. So there is actually an additional layer of protection around the motors. The battery is 466 watt-hours and made up of Samsung 35E 18650 cells in a 12S 3P arrangement. But instead of a 10S arrangement, the Black Carve uses 12S, which creates less heat in the powertrain. The Onsra Black Carve uses a drop-through maple and bamboo deck. I wouldn't call it a flexi deck, but it's not completely stiff either. It does bend a little bit and absorb some road vibration. The deck is 94 centimeters long, 25 centimeters at its widest point, and has a wheelbase of 90 centimeters. Just for comparison, the Evolve Bamboo GTR is 96 centimeters long, Onboard Bamboo is 98, and Backfire Ranger is 101.5. So the Onsra is a little bit on the shorter side compared to other boards with large batteries. This board uses double kingpin trucks, just like the Evolve GTR, Onboard Bamboo, Backfire Ranger, etc. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with double kingpin trucks. I think they're great and a lot of fun as surf skate trucks, but for high speed and daily use, the bushings have to be compressed far more than I'd like. That's just how it is with double kingpin trucks. You may need to spend some time to configure the trucks to your liking. When you order the Onsra Black Carve, you can choose either the 97mm wheels, which look like giant longboard wheels, or you can choose the even larger 115mm wheels, which look like tires on cars. Which set should you choose? Get the 97mm wheels if you want more range and torque. Get the 115mm wheels if you want more comfort or want to ride on rough terrain. So far on this board, I've only spent time with the 115mm wheels. Big soft wheels seem to be the trend nowadays for electric skateboards. Let me show you some ride footage so you can see what these wheels can do. Oh wow, those were some big rocks. If you've never been on an electric skateboard, this footage might not mean much to you, so let me explain. Most electric skateboards with 85 to 97mm street wheels are not very suitable for poorly paved roads like these. The smaller the wheels are, the less suitable they are. These types of roads typically require all-terrain wheels, which are normally 150mm or larger. But these 115mm soft rubber wheels handle bumpy roads fantastically. They're also great on sidewalk tiles and over those bumps designed for blind people. The downside is that they do consume noticeably more energy than smaller and harder wheels. In case you're wondering, yes, you can use cloud wheels with this board. BOA wheels and Kaguamas are also compatible. The black carve comes with wheel mounts for ABEC clone cores and also Kegel cores. The top speed of this board is supposedly well over 50 kilometers per hour. A high top speed is technically not that hard to achieve, and it's not a number that I personally care about. What I'm more impressed with on this board is how much torque there is even with the large and soft rubber wheels. While riding around, I never felt like this board lacked power. That makes me wonder just how strong the torque must be with the 97mm wheels. If I want even stronger acceleration, I could go a bit smaller, like BOA's 90mm wheels. But even with the 115 rubber wheels, I feel that the torque is adequately strong for me, even when riding uphill. The brakes are also great. When riding in traffic, I never felt like I couldn't stop in time. Except when I'm at a very low speed, and I'm talking about like walking speed. I feel like many Hobbywing boards nowadays don't brake very hard when you're at a very low speed. It's not a big deal since at that speed you can easily just put your foot down, but it's just something I felt I should mention. Again, this is with the 115mm wheels. I haven't tried braking with the other wheels. The black carve uses a Hobbywing ESC, which has a great reputation for giving the rider an accurate and intuitive throttle control. The remote has a telemetry display that shows your remote's battery indicator, your board's battery indicator, current speed mode, an odometer, etc. There are 3 speed modes. I forgot to try the first one, but the acceleration in the second and third modes feel about the same to me. The main difference is the top speed. The top speed of the second mode is already over 40 kilometers per hour, so I stayed in that mode most of the time. The black carve with the 115mm rubber wheels installed is 11.3 kilograms. That's around the same weight as many all-terrain boards, which tend to have heavy wheels and large batteries. Carrying this board up and down stairs is not very pleasant, but pulling this board is pretty easy, as long as you turn off both the remote and the board. If you turn off only the remote but not the board, the brakes engage and you can't pull the board. I know it's a small thing, but I find that very annoying. Like I said earlier, the unit I have here is a prototype, so there are some minor cosmetic changes in the final version. I also have the black carve belt drive version, which I received more recently, and I think this one is the final look. I think the direct drive black carve will also look like this, but with direct drive motors instead of belt drive. Pretty cool looking board. The thick foam grip tape pieces look pretty nice and should reduce road vibration. Check out the battery enclosure. It has abs.
Abs. E-skate abs.
Keep in mind that lots of things affect range. The rider's weight, acceleration, speed, incline, wind, etc. The wheels also make a big difference. Bigger and softer wheels use up more energy than smaller and harder wheels. With that said, I got about 30 kilometers with the 115mm rubber wheels.
According to the ride app, we went 30.1 kilometers.
This board has a 466 watt-hour battery, so that comes out to about 15.5 watt-hours used per kilometer. For my weight and this type of wheel, that seems about right to me. If I were using the 97mm wheels, I would guesstimate that I'd use about, let's say, 11 watt-hours per kilometer and get a range of about 42 kilometers. That's assuming all the same conditions except for the different wheels. I don't really have any major complaints about this board. In fact, I quite like it, and it's been more enjoyable than I expected. The things that stand out to me are how powerful this board is even with large soft wheels, and how quiet it is. This is the quietest board I've ever been on. The lack of noise might not be important for many people, but for me it was a bit like riding an electric car for the first time. The quietness just really stood out to me. Normally, I prefer smaller wheels so I can get that burst of performance when I want it, but I also don't mind getting spoiled by these very comfortable wheels. The Onsra Black Carve is pretty great.